What up, 12s? Welcome in to this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. Got a loaded show on deck to begin your Wednesday afternoon. We'll go over the latest news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks as we'll talk about Tyler Lockett's future. Also got a top 30 visit to get to as well. We also will be looking at the updated free agent targets for your Seattle Seahawks, who they potentially could go after and bring in. We will also go over ESPN's latest 7-round mock draft for Seattle, go through every pick and break them all down. And then before we get out of here today, we will answer your Q&A mailbag questions as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get your questions on the mailbag portion of today's show. As you guys file in, we're out of the gates, we're ready to go. Shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we are rocking and rolling here on the program. Always a pleasure. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday. Tyler Jones here. Tyler Smith, a.k.a. Smitty, also hanging out here with me as well. Smitty, happy Wednesday to you, my friend. Plenty to talk about with the 12s today as we're in this period of the first wave of free agency over with and the draft coming up in just about a month from today, I think, actually. This is still an exciting time right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is, that kind of dead period of the NFL season, but there's still a lot of intrigue before we know who is really going to be filling out all these rosters before the start of the 2024 season. Draft season right around the corner. Free agency still alive and well. We're going to talk about some free agents today. Very excited to be here with all the 12. Shout out your city. How's everybody doing today? Smitty in the house.
Yes, Felipe in Lubbock, Texas. Dustin says Tyler Jones, always going beast mode. Hey, always keep it real with y'all. Soul Pancake says, love the show from Eagle Mountain, Utah. Thank you for that, Soul Pancake. We also got Kayvon in D.C., got Dustin in Ellensburg, Washington. I got Nathan in Colville, Washington. Mr. Shiny says, extend Lockett, please. We'll talk more about Tyler Lockett coming up later. Nathan says, I love Ellensburg. Isaac getting a question for the mailbag. We'll do a mailbag coming up later. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Michael in Jacksonville, Texas. Helen, good to see you out in Phoenix. I will be in Phoenix at this time next week, actually. Smitty, I'm going to the Final Four. I cannot wait.
You're lucky. You're the luckiest guy in the world. That's a dream of mine to attend a Final Four. I got a great tournament so far. Sweet 16 right around the corner this week.
You're going to the regional here in Dallas this weekend, right?
I will be at the regional here in Dallas, supporting my Duke Blue Devils, also against my Houston Cougars, who I have winning the national championship. Duke is a team I grew up loving, and I haven't seen them in about 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Maybe, no, it was 6 years. No, 7 years. It was December 2016. So,
that's going to be a great game Friday night.
It's going to be a great game Friday night. I also have NC State and Marquette. DJ Burns, the big fella, is going to steal the hearts of America once again here in the second weekend, and Marquette's a great offense. So I should have a lot of fun there at the American Airlines Center this Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Isaac in Salem, Oregon, the capital of the state of Oregon. Hamuel in Seattle. Space, checking in from the moon, outer space. Imagine that. Daniel's in Moses Lake, and Nathan says, go Gonzaga. I got a question about Gonzaga we'll get to in a second, actually. Let's grade the offseason so far for the Seahawks. A, B, C, D, or F. As the great Kobe Bryant once said, job's not finished. There's obviously some more work to be done, Smitty, but with what we've seen to this point with the coaching staff changes, this first wave of free agency, we did see one trade, the Sam Howell trade. I'm optimistic about this group going forward, but there's still some glaring things they need to take care of, specifically when it comes to the interior of the offensive line.
Listen, we have some great players at a lot of positions on this roster. I mean, you think about the receiver trio, it's among the best in the NFL. You have, at cornerback, you have an elite prospect in Devin Witherspoon. I'm excited to see how he improves in year two. And Tariq Woolen. That
price pick's coming up.
And Tariq Woolen as well. After potentially what people are calling a down year for him, I'm excited to see how he rebounds and improves. Obviously, the linebacker core that we just assembled is pretty exciting when you think about the change in philosophy for this defense and as well as this offense. I'm very excited to see where it all goes. It's a new era of Seattle Seahawks football with some great players in a lot of positions, but there's still some holes to fill.
Smitty, with there still being some obvious things to fill up at this point, I am optimistic. It's a B right now for me, but a very good draft and a couple more moves here and there, that grade can go up.
I think
it's B because it's incomplete at the moment.
Yeah, I would go with a B as well. I mean, you locked up the interior of your defensive line. You can still use some help down there, but Leonard Williams is just a demon, and you had to re-sign him for what you gave up draft capital-wise. And speaking of the draft, we have, we're talking a little bit about the draft today. We're going to the worldwide leader for their picks on who Seattle is going to take. But, I'm excited to see who they go with there because this is a young team, and a lot of this core is going to be together for the next couple of seasons. I'm excited.
Yeah, get your grades in. I see Isaac says A-. Me and Spinney each said B. Catch up and let us know what your grades are. We'll shout you out. Jerry says A- with his pick there. Before we go any further in today's show, let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Game Time. Game Time, the place to go for last-minute tickets for the best seats and the lowest prices guaranteed. Here's how Game Time works, my friends. If you go to Game Time, use the promo code ChatSports. We're giving you $20 off your first purchase, whether you're going to Seattle Mariners game, maybe you are going to go see the Kraken, all sorts of stuff you can choose from. Pick the seat you'll want to go sit in and figure out if you like that seat or not. You might find a flash deal. And then, bam, voila, you're checking out just like that. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers, they got you covered. Download Game Time today. $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code ChatSports. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Terms and conditions to apply. Game Time, proud partner of Seahawks Today by ChatSports. Smitty, we got a $100 Super Chat from Dan the Man Miller. Bang! Dan. Everybody spam Dan. Dan the Man. What an entrance. We haven't even got to the Super Chat menu yet. And Dan comes in hot with the $100 Super Chat. How about that? Spam Dan. How about that?
Wow.
Dan says, I believe Seattle will trade down their 16th pick. We can get a lower number 1 and 2 number 2 picks. What do you think they will trade down? So Dan the Man, with his wolf avatar and everything. I love seeing the chat just spamming Dan, by the way. Smitty, I've said this the entire time, and I will continue to reiterate. Mm-hmm. For me, it all depends on just how the board shakes out.
Yeah, if the top guy on your board who you had, as your 8th prospect is there at 16, you're going to take him.
If Brock Bowers is there, you're taking him. Dallas Turner's there, you're taking him. Some people aren't going to like to hear this, but if somehow J.J. McCarthy's there, you're taking him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it's going to be. If those guys aren't around, then okay, yeah, you trade down, get some multiple picks, do things the Belichick way, and go from there. But it all depends on just how the board shakes out. This is not I know some people want a definitive answer, but for me, this is not a definitive answer.
I mean, listen, I would not be mad at a potential offensive line fix as well. I mean, there's multiple guys there who I hope when John Schneider is saying, Mike McDonald is saying that Seattle is going to continue to address this offensive line, I think they're going to do it in the draft. And if one of their interior offensive linemen or even tackles that are on their big board very high are available at 16, I think they're going to take them. I think they understand that it's still a weakness on this team and that it needs to be addressed.
So we haven't got to the Super Chat menu yet, but Dan, we owe you a couple beer bongs, so I'm just going to go ahead and start pouring up right now while we show you what is on the Super Chat menu, so you can be like Dan and see what you paid for today. First-time Super Chatters, you get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat, we'll sing the old McDonald song. $10 Super Chat gets you a raffle ticket for the Seahawk knives. $20 Super Chat gets your name added to the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. $50 Super Chat, it gets you a bear bong. And our deal of the day today, for every $10 Super Chat, not only do you get one final entry for the Seahawk knives we're going to give away here this month. But also, you will get a dad joke as well. Smitty, I know that you and I are not old yet, but we've been around our fathers, and people are fathers' age enough to know some pretty decent dad jokes.
I'm sure we can come together with a few corny jokes for the Seahawks Today chat today.
Yes. So if you would like to hear a nice dad joke, $10 super chat, and you can hear a dad joke. Let's go ahead and Smitty, while we go with this next question, I'll turn to you while I do the spirit bong.
Go for it.
The Zags.
Yeah.
How far can they go in the tournament? They got a tough test against Purdue coming up.
They do have a tough test against Purdue. Purdue's look like one of, if not the best team in the NCAA tournament field as Tyler chugs down that beer bong for Dan the Man Miller. Potentially one of the tougher players that Zach Edey has had to deal with in Graham Ike for these Gonzaga Bulldogs. Ryan Nembhard has complete control of the offense. I think this Zags team is a well-oiled machine. Mark Few, 9 straight Sweet 16s, a lot of Elite 8s, and a couple Final Fours sprinkled in there as well. They know what it's like to win in the second weekend, potentially even the third weekend of March. And I don't know, this might be Purdue's toughest test before they get to the Final Four. I believe in the lower half of their bracket, they have
Creighton.
Oh, it's Creighton in Tennessee.
Creighton, Tennessee.
Oh, Creighton could also prove very tough for Purdue as well. And Creighton could prove tough for Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga has an opportunity. Any team in that Midwest region has an opportunity to make the Final Four. I think Gonzaga has a chance. Absolutely.
What kind of percentage chance would you give Gonzaga again by Purdue?
Probably. To get by Purdue, I'm going to go with a 25% chance. And then
honestly, if you're Gonzaga, you got to like those odds.
I think so as well. I think one.
Cheers on the second beer bong. For
one
Dan.
out of 4 games, potentially 1 out of 3 games, you would beat Gonzaga. You beat Purdue. The Bulldogs would. Checking in on the chat as Tyler puts down another beer bong for Dan the Man Miller. Nathan saying go Gonzaga, and Hamuel saying Gonzaga is better than Syracuse, but worse than Alabama. Well, Syracuse is not in the NCAA tournament field.
Hate to break it to you.
And Alabama is only 1 seed line higher, and they play very erratically, not organized at all. Gonzaga would beat Alabama if they matched up.
Oh, I'm excited about this weekend.
I'm excited about this weekend, very much so. This is my favorite sporting event of the year. Sorry to trash on Seahawks Sundays, but, man, nothing like the NCAA tournament.
Smitty, I'm holding serve with my original Final Four. I'm still going to go with Houston, UConn, Arizona, and Creighton.
Yeah, I originally had Auburn, UNC, Creighton, and Houston. I'm changing my tune now, obviously, because Auburn's out. It's going to be UConn walking backwards.
Okay. Let's get this show started here in just a bit, shall we? I got 71 people watching right now. I want to see as many S's in the chat. We do this on game days. This is a rallying cry, and this really helps the algorithm out to get this show out to more people so they can be a part of what we're doing here on the channel. So over this next minute, I want to see as many S's as we can. Smitty's going to shout out all the S's. So get in that chat right now. Let's see who can put the most S's in and be the early favorite to be the MVP here on today's show. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, here we go. We got Hamuel spamming those S's. Come on, Seahawks fans. Where are we at today? Wake up a little bit. Let's make it louder than Lumen in here. Come on. It's our rallying cry. It's how we get you guys ready for the show. We got 4 hot segments in for you tonight. There's Isaac. There's Alan Wilson. Nathan. The Lichtenberg figure. Michael Edwards. Michael Liebert. Spamming W's. But he's also spamming S's. This show's a W. The Seahawks are a W. Deshaun Baker. Dan Miller with another super chat. We'll get to that in just a moment here. Isaac. Michael. Deshaun. Swifty. Come on, keep spamming those S's. Let's make it louder than Lumen in here. What are we doing? Andy, Deshaun, Jared, Swifty, Nathan, Isaac, Tony Baldwin, Swifty, Jared, Isaac, Michael, Nathan, Deshaun, Jared. Keep it up. Keep it going, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Good work, chat. Nice stuff there. Everybody getting involved. Dan the Man sent in another 20. We'll go to Dan here with his next super chat as he gets his name added again to the Football Hall of Fame, which we will be given away here soon, and we still have more space to get your name added to this. $20, and you can have your name added. Dan the Man wants to know, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Mariners season. Smitty, I look at that Seattle Mariners team, and I think that 85 games is certainly within reach.
Mm-hmm.
I love that pitching rotation, too, for the Mariners and what they put together. I think the Mariners are going to be an interesting team in 2024.
Now, I haven't kept super up to date with all of the baseball free agency because it takes the entire offseason. We still got guys getting signed yesterday. I mean, Jordan Montgomery goes to the Diamondbacks yesterday, and we're still having guys signed that are high-level talents. So I got to see what this Seattle Mariners squad is looking like.
I mean, Julio Rodriguez, he's a legit superstar.
I mean, besides Julio, I mean, let's see what these Mariners got. While we discuss Seattle Mariner baseball, let's
like the video.
Let's like the video.
While we're talking Seattle Mariners baseball, Hamiel says Mariners over Yankees. Is that a shot at Smitty, who is a Yankee fan?
I am a Yankee fan.
Smitty is from New York, though, originally, so he is not as terrible as most Yankee fans. He's still terrible, but not as terrible. Like the video if you're ready to start today's show. We're at 22 likes right now. I need to get to 40 likes to officially get this show started, but we need your help. Like the video. If you love your Seattle Seahawks, if you're excited about this offseason, the NFL draft and everything, maybe for some Mariner baseball. They get started this weekend against the Boston Red Sox. Like the video. Need 15 more likes to start today's video. Nathan says, Mariners rule. Hamiel says, hey, sorry, I'm from New York as well. Oh, well. All good there. No need to apologize. You can still call Smitty terrible for being a Yankee fan. That's fine. I'm a Kansas City Royal fan myself. We have some terrible expectations. Although I will say I do love me some Bobby Witt Jr., though.
Hey, Bobby Witt Jr., he's very exciting. Excuse me for yawning. As I look at this Mariners roster, it's still the same kind of crew. Obviously, you get another year of Castillo. Pretty much same crew. Another year of Julio, kind of getting better there. I think, yeah. I mean, 85, 90 wins sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I think so. So, Dan the Man, to answer your question, we are projecting about 85 to 90 wins for the Mariners. Should be in contention to make the postseason. And I love that pitching staff. Maybe the best pitching staff in all Major League Baseball. So there you have it, Dan the Man. Go Mariners. I have been to, what do they call it now, T-Mobile Park?
Yes, I believe
Used
so.
to be Safeco Field. I've been to that stadium several times, actually. Great place to watch a baseball game.
Yep.
I've always enjoyed that. Marlon says Diamondbacks. I'm going to see, Smitty, we mentioned you being a scumbag Yankee fan. While I'm in Phoenix next week, I'm actually going to see the D-backs play the scumbag Yankees.
Hey, listen, you'll be witnessing greatness in that Yankee lineup.
Yeah, D-backs coming off a World Series appearance themselves.
Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Yeah, we'll see you.
Hamiel says, what are your thoughts about Oklahoma City? Great basketball team. I will save that for another day. Not on this show will I compliment the Oklahoma City Thunder as much as I would like to. I don't want to make some enemies today. All right, here's what's coming up on today's show. Latest news and rumors around your Seattle Seahawks. We'll talk about Tyler Lockett, also a top 30 visit for Grayson Murphy. And that should say updated, not undrafted. Updated free agent targets, not undrafted free agent targets. We don't have the UDFAs yet, but you get the idea. ESPN has a 7-round mock draft out from Matt Miller. Matt Miller, native of Joplin, Missouri, by the way. We'll go over his mock draft for all 7 of the Seahawks picks. And then we'll do a live Q&A as well. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. So stay tuned for that as we're just about ready to go. I need one more like. I said I needed 40. We're 39 right now. One more, and then we'll get this thing started in the chat. Let's see. Michael says Mariners are going to be tough this year. Best pitching staff. Let's see. Hamiel says Seattle playing the Bills next year. What's your prediction? Too early to say. We still don't know who these teams are. I'm not giving any predictions on records till we get through the draft. I got to know what the rosters fully look like before we predict anything. All right, there we go. 40 likes. Now we can get this show started. Without further ado, we will bring you the latest news and rumors across the National Football League and your Seattle Seahawks. That's next here on today's show. Let's get after it. Loaded show ahead here on Seattle Seahawks today. Is Tyler Lockett's future in doubt with the Seahawks organization beyond this year? We'll show you what one Seahawk analyst had to say about Tyler Lockett going forward coming up in just a bit. Also, we have another top 30 visit for your Seattle Seahawks as they are set to meet with Grayson Murphy from UCLA. We'll tell you everything you need to know about Grayson Murphy in just a bit. I am merely Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Big game for the Zags coming up here in a couple days as they take on Purdue with a shot in the Elite Eight on the line, and then from there, potentially the Final Four. If you want the Zags to beat Purdue, I know you do. We're all rooting for the Zags to get the job done. Like the video. Even though the Zags took out my Kansas Jayhawks last week, I'm still all in on the Zags. I want them to just beat the living hell out of Zach Edey. Like the video. Don't jinx it. Let's see a Zags win. We'll get started with today's show. Is the end near for Tyler Lockett? 12th Man Rising is suggesting that this upcoming season, the 2024 campaign, will be the last for Tyler Lockett with the Seattle Seahawks due to his age, his contract situation, and where the Seahawks are investing elsewhere, that this is going to be the last ride of sorts for Tyler Lockett. Here's more from Lee Val. There is literally no way Lockett remains on the 2025 roster the way his current contract is structured, even through the deal was recently restructured. Lockett's cap hit in 2025 would be an incredible $30.895 million, but his dead cap is only $4 million. By removing Lockett from the 2025 roster, the Seahawks would save nearly $27 million. Over the cap has a different number, but Seattle would still save a whopping $17 million by releasing Lockett after the 2024 season. No matter how great a player that is probably too much to pass up on. 12 should relish watching Tyler Lockett in 2024. Next season will very likely be his final season with the team. Now, when we talk about the money situation, absolutely, Lee Val is 100% right. That the contract as is makes no sense whatsoever for Tyler Lockett to come back to the Seattle Seahawks in 2025. But if Tyler Lockett is willing to work with the Seahawks like he did this offseason, if he has a bounce-back season from the down year that he had previously, then I still think there's a door to potentially make this work and for Tyler Lockett to return to the Seattle Seahawks in 2025. He's made it clear that he doesn't want to play forever, that he's probably going to be a guy that retires early. But even with that said, if he's still productive, if he's willing to work with the Seahawks, I think there's still a door open for him to potentially stick around. He restructured his contract to be on a 2-year, close to a $30 million deal. Turns 32 during this season, and he's coming off his first season since 2018 where he didn't have 1,000 receiving yards. A lot of people point to the quarterback play and say that was the big reason why his numbers were down, but you got to think JSN, his role is going to increase in this offense. Noah Fant's role is going to increase in this offense as well. Somebody's going to be the odd man out, and it might end up being Tyler Lockett when it's all said and done. So let's ask you, will this be Tyler Lockett's last year with the Seattle Seahawks? Is this the last hoorah of sorts for Tyler Lockett in Seattle? So our pinned comment today, why for yes, in for no, why in the comment section, tell me what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. The best seats, they got it all with Game Time, whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, and more. Game Time has got you covered. Here's how it works. Download Game Time today. Choose the event you'll want to go to. Then choose the seat that you'll want to sit in. And you can see for yourself if you like that seat or not. And you might stumble upon a flash deal in the process. We know that opening day is just around the corner for your Seattle Mariners taking on the Boston Red Sox. Why not go see the Mariners this weekend, folks? And Game Time makes it so easy for you. You can use Apple Pay. You can use Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers, and have your tickets, voila, just within a matter of moments. And let me sweeten the pot for you a little bit. If you use the promo code ChatSports, we're going to give you $20 off your first purchase. So, download Game Time today. Start saving. $20 off with promo code ChatSports. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Over the last week or so, we've been getting periodic updates on who the Seahawks plan to meet with for their top 30 visits. And it's been pretty fascinating of who they've set up these meetings with. And this one is included as well, as UCLA defensive lineman Grayson Murphy announced that he is going to take a top 30 visit in Seattle from April 9th through the 10th. So that's coming up here within just about a week or so. Murphy played for UCLA the last 2 seasons, played at North Texas before that, and his brother, Gabriel Murphy, is the more talked about prospect of this year's class. Both of them have played together all the way back to North Texas to now at UCLA, and his brother is supposed to be a behemoth of a football player. Grayson himself had about 10 total sacks the last 2 seasons. We've seen the Seahawks in the past pair up some brothers before. Maybe they do it again here with the Murphys, getting both Grayson and Gabriel potentially. You know, I'll say this. When it comes to Grayson, he wasn't a combine invite. So what that means for the Seahawks, the expectation should be that he's somebody that wouldn't be very high in this draft. You won't probably need to reach for Grayson Murphy if you really want him. You can probably wait till later on. And when you look at the scouting report that we're going to show you and some of the numbers we'll go over in just a bit, this could be a potential steal for the Seattle Seahawks if they decide to go this route and draft Grayson Murphy. So let's ask you, should the Seahawks draft Grayson Murphy? Type D for draft, P for pass. What do you think? Is Grayson Murphy a Seahawk? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know. We are your off-season headquarters here on Seattle Seahawks today, bringing you all the draft coverage you need to know. We're talking rumors, trades, free agency. It's all in one place right here on Seattle Seahawks today. We are working around the clock to bring you the best Seahawks coverage we can. Anytime news breaks, we bring you a video as quick as we can. We're live each and every week here on the channel as well. And the best part about it does not cost you a thing. 100% absolutely guaranteed to be free here on Seahawks Today. Join the family. The 12s are right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. If you're a member of the 12, you got to be a member of Seahawks Today. Subscribe to youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Let's go over some numbers on Grayson Murphy here. This past season in 13 games played, had 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 32 tackles. And at his pro day, he impressed as well. Ran a 4.52. Broad jump was a 10.5. Vertical jump, 37. And the shuttle time, that's what really stood out to me. 4.33 shuttle time for Grayson Murphy there. His scouting report, a couple things that I think are pretty fascinating with this guy. He's quick to close, right? So he can finish real fast. High motor, good length, and even though we're looking at a guy potentially being a late-round pick, he still has already an NFL caliber spin move on him that helps him work around offensive linemen. He's got outstanding closing burst. He does lack flexibility and fluidity at times, but overall, for a guy that's expected to go later, this is not a bad option at all. I think you're looking at about a 6th round pick or even later than that. Maybe it's a 7th round pick. Maybe he potentially falls to being a UDFA since he didn't get a combine invite. But this could be a sneaky good find for the Seattle Seahawks if they decide to go with a guy here like Grayson Murphy and potentially get his brother Gabriel Murphy as well. Who's a player the Seahawks should draft? Well, in the comment section, let us know what you think, whether it's a guy like Murphy or maybe his brother. Get in there. Let us know a player you'd like to see in Seattle. If you enjoyed today's show, you want a Zags win, like the video. We'd certainly appreciate it. And we'll see you next time right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. All right. 1 down, 3 to go. Next up, we will get to updated free agent targets for the Seahawks. But who is a player the Seahawks should draft? Let us know in the chat right now. Smitty, both Murphy brothers intrigue me a bit here.
I mean, listen, if you can get a pair of brothers with chemistry on the defensive line that needs a little bit of help still, I wouldn't be opposed. I think, they show that they can make plays and fill out the stat sheet. So, listen, who's me to say that the Seahawks shouldn't draft them?
I would say things worked out well for Seattle last time. They went with a pair of brothers with the Griffins.
Yeah, I mean, Shaquille was good. Shaquem obviously had his limitations, but he was still a very competitive football player. He gave his all on every
I think they got
play.
the most out of both of them.
Absolutely got the most out of both of them. I think Shaquille at least dropped off significantly after leaving Seattle, although his last year wasn't entirely great either.
Yeah. Who's the player the Seahawks should draft? Hamiel says Seahawks should get J.J. McCarthy. Let's see. Who else we got in the chat? Hamiel said, I thought we were talking about the other Murphy. Maybe for another day. Potentially there. Let's see. Who else we got in the chat? Let us know who you'd like to see the Seahawks potentially draft. Let's go back to Super Chat menu. I know here we go. Let's go to this. Quality over quantity with a $2 Super Chat writes in. What if the Hawks pick up Joe Milton in the 4th round? Joe Milton, I think, is an interesting prospect, Smitty, because you look at Joe Milton, the cupboards were bare of what was left for him after Hendon Hooker ended up getting drafted by the Lions, because all those great receivers like Jaylan Hyatt and others, they all went pro. And so there wasn't much for Joe Milton to work with this past year. He didn't have that great of a season, but I give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't have a ton to work with. He comes from a cookie-cutter offense. That Josh Heupel scheme is not an NFL offense by any stretch of the imagination. But people are going to fall in love with the big arm of Joe Milton. Personally, there's other guys I like more than Joe Milton. I like Michael Pratt from Tulane, potentially, if you're looking for a day 3 guy with a shot to develop. I like him more than I do Joe Milton. But that big arm, somebody's going to fall in love with him.
Somebody's going to fall in love with it for sure, and he might even get overdrafted. I tend to lean the Michael Pratt way as well if you're looking at a day 3 guy. But, hey, Joe Milton's got definitely upside and potential to he has the NFL frame, he's got the NFL arm.
Hamiel says Brock Bowers. Nathan says Jackson Powers Johnson. Michael says trade back at Graham Barton. Super Chat menu. Here's what we got today. First time Super Chatters, you get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat, sing the old McDonald's song. $10 Super Chat, raffle ticket for the Seahawk knives that we will be giving away here soon. And then $20 Super Chat will add your name to the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. $50 Super Chat will do a beer bowling. And we're less than $80 away now from Das Boot, potentially speaking. So if you guys can make that happen, if Dan the man can get some help, if I can get 80 more bucks, then we can make a boot happen here on today's show. Next up, let's go to updated free agent targets. As we are now in the second wave of free agency, who are some guys that the Seahawks could potentially add? We'll break that down next here on today's show. Smitty, we all set? All right, without further ado, let's get started here with segment 2. We're talking free agent targets here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. The first wave of free agency is complete. Now, where do the Seahawks go from here? They have some obvious holes still to fill on this roster, and I know some of you are thinking, well, you got the draft coming up. Well, the draft isn't going to take care of everything. So who are some guys the Seahawks could potentially look at to bring in over the next couple of weeks? We got a list of several players that we'll go over here in just a bit. Before we do, who is your favorite Seahawks free agent signing of all time? No wrong answers here. Just who is your personal favorite? When I think When I bring up free agency, who do you think of that comes to mind that was a great signing by the Seahawks? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. We'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with Emmanuel Ogbah of the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'll be honest. We had Jadeveon Clowney in this spot originally when we wrote the script for this show. But as we were putting this show together, he ended up getting signed by the Carolina Panthers and got way overpaid. So the next option, next man up, we went to Emmanuel Ogbah. I've always liked Emmanuel Ogbah, dating back to his days with the Oklahoma State Cowboys, won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like he's always been an underrated player his entire career. And you look at what Mike Macdonald has done a really good job of in Baltimore, that the Seahawks are hoping for, is taking these underrated, undervalued guys and getting the most out of them and turning them into really good talents. I think Emmanuel Ogbah, case in point, could be exactly that for Seattle. 5.5 sacks last year. Did anybody know Emmanuel Ogbah had 5.5 sacks, to be honest with you? I don't think most people did. He's 2 years removed from having 9 sacks in back-to-back seasons in 2021 and 2020. Sign me up. I'll take Emmanuel Ogbah on my team every single day, and I think he'd be a difference maker for the Seattle Seahawks team and not cost you a ton of money either. Should the Seahawks sign Emmanuel Ogbah? It's our pinned comment today. Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comment section. Tell us what you think. What about Emmanuel Ogbah in Seattle? Weigh in and let me know. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks, and they've got specials for new and returning users alike from March Madness when you head over to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Football season may be over, but the action in the hardwood is heating up. Whether it's March Madness or the fight for NBA playoff seeding, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Prize Picks is simple. You pick more or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already. PrizePicks.com/CLNS and get a first-time deposit match of $100 at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Prize Picks has got you covered. It's where you want to be with Prize Picks. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, so fun to play. I love Prize Picks myself. I did pretty well. I won big last week on the NCAA tournament. You can win big this week on Prize Picks. Also got some baseball Prize Picks as well. You can see for yourself. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS to play along today. Let's go to the offensive line now, and that's where we find Andreas Peat, formerly of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Pete's got a lot of potential interest out there from other teams outside of the Seattle Seahawks as far as that goes. So this might be realistically a pipe dream of sorts, if you will. But if the Seahawks could pull this off and bring Pete in, he's somebody that would start immediately, and they would certainly find a role for. Whether it's playing guard or tackle, he would be very useful. And we've talked about Abraham Lucas with the concerns about him long term. Maybe you move Lucas to guard and put Pete at tackle. Maybe you put Pete at guard and keep Lucas to tackle, whatever it may be. But here's somebody that last year overall grade, okay, 60.2. He was better in run blocking, 62.1, than he was in pass blocking. But the Seahawks specifically need help when it comes to run blockers. Next up, let's talk another edge rusher, Bud Dupree, former Pittsburgh Steeler, most recently with the Atlanta Falcons. I'll say this, when I look at Bud Dupree, it's been a couple of years since he played at a high level like we saw the version of him with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you talk about reclamation projects potentially for Mike Macdonald. This could be it for Bud Dupree. Last year he had 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The year prior had 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Maybe I think Mike Macdonald might be the right guy to get him back to that 8-sack level that we saw in 2020 and not cost you a whole lot either. Bud Dupree, I think, might be a sneaky good find potentially for the Seahawks here. Who's a free agent the Seahawks should sign? We got our list, but there's plenty of others out there. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know what you think of a player Seattle should bring in. Folks, we are getting very close to 51,500 subscribers here on Seattle Seahawks Today. If any of these free agents sign, we're going to make a video and talk about it here on the channel. We'll also bring you daily news and rumors, our live shows once a week. We're counting you down to the draft and more. We're your off-season headquarters here on Seahawks Today. Lock us in. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Never miss a moment. You'll be glad you did right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Another name on this list is Laken Tomlinson of the New York Jets. If you were watching the channel a couple days ago, then you would have heard that this suggestion has been thrown out there by Brady Henderson of ESPN, who covers the Seahawks. And let's be honest, 2023 wasn't a great year for Tomlinson, if we're going to be frank with you. But this Seahawks team is so desperate on the offensive line. They need to take whatever they can get. If Laken Tomlinson is available, then go ahead and bring him on my team. I mean, he allowed 7 sacks. He, ended up with 10 hits allowed, 34 hurries, 3 penalties. It wasn't his best year last year. But you go back to a couple years ago, he was a Pro Bowler with the San Francisco 49ers. So that wasn't too long ago. I look at Laken Tomlinson. I think that you put him on this Seahawks team, he could be a difference maker. He could start for this and bring a veteran presence there. Next up, we find our old friend, Jamal Adams. Now, let me be very clear. I have not been a fan of the idea of bringing Jamal Adams back to Seattle. But this is one of those situations where I'm putting him on this list because this is not my choice here. This is all based on what we've heard. And what we've heard is Mike McDonald and John Schneider say publicly that they're open to the idea of Jamal Adams coming back as a linebacker. And no one else is talking to Jamal Adams. He's not, no one's picking up the phone to get Jamal Adams on their team right now. And so the longer this drags on, the price tag decreases, and it's more likely Jamal Adams potentially comes back. I don't like the idea personally. I have a lot of concerns when it comes to health, when it comes to quality of play on the football field. But obviously there's something that they see in him where they think he can be impactful as a linebacker for this Seahawks team. Not as a safety, but moving to linebacker. I don't like the idea, but the Seahawks must see something in him. We'll see if they do that route. So let's ask you, should the Seahawks bring back Jamal Adams? HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. I'm spamming hell no myself, but not my decision. What do you guys think? Weigh in, tell us what you think. Next on the list, Kyle Van Noy. Now, this is one I do like, personally speaking. Kyle Van Noy really just came out of nowhere and had a very good year with the Baltimore Ravens this past year. Signed with that team in late September, and he thrived in Mike McDonald's defense last season. And with what I saw from him and the role he played in that scheme and that system where he excelled to the fashion he did, I don't see any reason why he couldn't run it back and replicate that again with this Seattle Seahawks team this year. He had 9 sacks last season, which was the most that he's had in the last 4 years. 9 tackles for loss, 30 tackles. Kyle Van Noy was great. He's not going to cost you that much either. Last year he played for a vet minimum contract of just over $1 million. So Kyle Van Noy, I really like the idea of potentially bringing him to the Seattle Seahawks. Next up, we find Dalton Reisner, formerly of the Denver Broncos, played last year with the Minnesota Vikings, a late addition to that team. Prior to that was a all Big 12 offensive lineman with the Kansas State Wildcats. He's still relatively young, too. And we've talked about the Seahawks with their need at the offensive guard spot. This is somebody in Dalton Reisner. Maybe he's not a Pro Bowl caliber player, but he can slide in right away to being a starter on your offensive guard, one of your offensive guard positions, and be a difference maker. And I think he's a very good leader as well. When he was at K-State, he was kind of the voice for the entire team there. And you look at what he did in Minnesota last year, didn't allow a single sack. I like that with Dalton Reisner. I think he'd be a great fit for Seattle as far as that goes. Another offensive lineman, Mason Cole of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know what some of you are going to say right away. Check it in the comments section. You're going to get on my ass and say, we have Olu. We don't need to bring in another center. Okay. I don't know how many times I have to educate some of you on this, but let's go over this one more time. Olu can play center or guard, either one. And if you bring in a guy like Mason Cole, you will find a way to still use Olu effectively, okay? Just because you sign a center does that not mean you're writing off Olu. It's okay if Olu plays guard. That's fine. Mason Cole, not a bad football player. Overall grade last year, 57.3. Allowed 24 hurries, 4 penalties. I think it'd be an upgrade from what we saw from Evan Brown last year. I would be very interested in the idea of Mason Cole, and I don't think that means that Olu is necessarily done in Seattle. More names to get to before I wrap up. What's the biggest need the Seahawks need to address still in free agency? What comes to mind? For me, it's the interior of the offensive line. That's what I'm still looking for. What are you looking for? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. One of the biggest names on this list, and we heard from Josina Anderson at CBS Sports within the last week or so, the Seahawks have interest in this guy. That is Randy Gregory, edge rusher, most recently with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, me personally, I'm not as high on Randy Gregory as some other people are. I see a guy that has a big name, but when you read into it a little closer, there's not a ton of production for as big of a name as Randy Gregory is, of what you would expect. I mean, Darrell Taylor has put up comparable, if not better, numbers than Randy Gregory has, for crying out loud, all right? I mean, 3.5 sacks last year, 2 sacks before that, 6 sacks in 2021, 2020, 3.5 sacks. And then you got some questions off the field. I know that he and Sean Payton didn't necessarily see eye to eye either, and Sean Payton was quick to move on from him and let him go to San Francisco. I think Randy Gregory, if you go get Randy Gregory, that's kind of a sign of desperation potentially there. Last on this list, Connor Williams of the Miami Dolphins. I'll say this. I'm a little surprised Connor Williams actually is still available at this point. He's one of the best interior offensive linemen in the league of what we've seen the last couple of seasons. He can play guard. He can play center. Most recently was playing center for the Miami Dolphins. I know there was some questions about his snapping technique, but if that's an issue, then move him to guard. Play him there. He can play either position. Look at these numbers from Pro Football Focus, folks. An overall grade near 87 last year. Only allowed 1 sack, 7 penalties, 4 hurries. Connor Williams was fantastic. He would come in and immediately be a difference maker for this Seattle Seahawks team, and whatever role would be asked of him. So that is our full list of potential free agent targets for you Seattle Seahawks. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end of today's video, spam 12 in the comments section. You deserve some love. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. All right. There we go. We're halfway home. Up next is a look at ESPN's latest 7-round mock draft. And then we'll do a Q&A mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Let's go back to the Jamal Adams topic. Smitty, we're only bringing this up. People always wonder, like, you guys just make up stuff. Just make up rumors, whatever. No, we're only bringing this up because John Schneider and Mike McDonald brought this up. I hate this idea, but obviously it's something they're looking at.
I mean, listen, if they keep him strictly toward the line of scrimmage, I could see a world where it makes sense. But I don't know, man. I just don't know if we need the headache, and we need to relive old times with a guy who just didn't work out here.
Well, and this was an idea that was talked about in the past of moving him to linebacker, but even then, like, you still have questions about the liability he can be. He's so bad in coverage. The off-the-field stuff, him quitting on his team, not showing up at the Monday night game, him calling that one reporter's wife ugly on social media and everything. Like, it's to me, there's a lot more there than what people may actually realize of issues with Jamal.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. The risk doesn't really outweigh the risk definitely outweighs the reward in this scenario for me. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. What do you guys think? HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Nathan says hell no. Hamill says hell no. Ben says hell no. Let us know what you think. Halfway home, up next, we're going to go over ESPN's latest mock draft. But first, here is the Super Chat menu. If you'd like to get on today's show, first-time Super Chatters, you get the Seahawks chant. Haven't done that today yet. Still waiting on a first-time Super Chatter to do that. $5 Super Chat will sing the old McDonald's song for you. $10 Super Chat will get you a raffle ticket for the Seahawk knives we're giving away here at the end of the month. $20 Super Chat, you will get your name added to the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. Still more room here on this side of the football to get your name added here. And then a $50 Super Chat, we will do a beer bong. We're also a little less than $80 away from Das Boot here on today's show. Also, with every $10 Super Chat, we will do a dad joke. I forgot. We owe a dad joke for Dan the Man Miller as well with that a $10 Super Chat he sent in earlier. So I will give you a dad joke here. Let's see here. All right. All right, here you go. Here's my $10 dad joke. If you want a dad joke, it's $10 here for you. How did Benjamin Franklin feel when he discovered electricity, Smitty?
I don't know.
He was shocked.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. How can I not come up with that?
Oh, more jokes like that. Every $10 Super Chat, we got you covered here on Seahawks Today. Up next, mock draft time. Smitty, you've already seen this mock draft from Matt Miller.
Yes.
But I got to say, this was, of the mock drafts we've seen, I know like we've seen some ridiculous ones from like Mike Tannenbaum, among others. This is actually, I think, one of the better ones.
I actually don't mind this one too much at all. They pick up some positions of need, and I think it's realistic, but I don't think it's exactly how Seattle is going to approach this.
It's not the most exciting mock draft, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But we will break it down. The worldwide leader in sports, Espen. What was that movie, the Adam Sandler movie, where he named his kid Espen?
I don't know.
It was that one with Drew Barrymore. Not 50 First Dates, but the other one.
Spanglish?
No, not Spanglish. Mingled.
Oh.
Yes, the Mingled family movie. Espen. I will not be naming my future children Espen. I'll tell you that right now. Up next, 7-round mock draft. We'll go over every pick of who Matt Miller is projecting for your Seattle Seahawks. We'll do that next. We'll do Q&A mailbag to follow as well. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Smitty, we all set? All right, let me take a quick swig of my water, then we'll get going. All right, without further ado, here we go. Mock draft season is in full swing, and on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, we will go over the latest 7-round mock draft from ESPN NFL Draft Analyst Matt Miller. He picked every selection for every pick of every team in the draft. And what we're going to do on today's show is focus in on the Seahawks, show you the Seahawks picks, provide some reaction and analysis, also what Matt Miller had to say as well about the Seahawks picks. We'll go over all of that and more coming up in just a bit. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We are your off-season headquarters here on Seattle Seahawks Today, and we are inching so close to our next milestone of 51,500 subscribers, but we need your help to get there, as we're just over 300 away from reaching that next milestone. The latest happenings in your favorite team all off-season long, from the draft, trades, free agency, and more. We got you covered. Our breaking news segments, our live shows, mailbags, everything in between. It's all right here in Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. You'd be glad you did. Let's go over the Seahawks draft picks, kind of set the scene for you here. As the Seahawks pick at 16 overall, do not have a second-round pick. They have one third-round pick after the Sam Howell trade at 81. Then they have two fourth-round picks at 102 and 118, and then they wrap up with two sixth-round picks, one at 179, 192, and their final pick in the draft is in the 7th round at 235. So with the Seahawks' 16th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. ESPN's Matt Miller is projecting that the Seahawks go with Washington offensive tackle / guard, probably guard for Seattle, Troy Fautanu with the 16th overall selection. Let's tell you more about Matt Miller's choice here of going with Fautanu to Seattle. The Seahawks depth chart has 0 left guards listed right now. So I have Fautanu, a college left tackle, sliding inside, where he has the talent to be an all-pro guard. Lining up Charles Cross and Fautanu on the left side immediately boosts the run game and keeps Geno Smith cleaner for deep passes. New offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb loves. Fautanu played for Grubb at Washington, too. The Seahawks are always seeking value when it comes to the draft, and Fautanu is my number 16 overall player, so Seattle can fill a need without reaching. So you're telling me the Seahawks are getting an all-pro player at this pick? No-brainer here. I know some of you want the Seahawks to trade down and pick up multiple picks, but if you can guarantee me that this is an all-pro pick for the Seahawks at 16 overall, then I'm scoring that as a win for Seattle to go with Troy Fautanu here with this selection. First team all Pac-12 selection this past year, Pac-12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. Mel Kiper's got him as the number 1 offensive guard in this year's draft. I mean, this would be a very good fit for Seattle. He's already been in the scheme, playing for Ryan Grubb and Scott Huff. He'll be teaching the guys how this works. His pass block grade was outstanding last year, 88.8. Run block grade, 61.9, close to 1,000 snaps. I think this would be a good pick for the Seattle Seahawks, and no one should complain about it if this is what the Seahawks ultimately go with. So, answer our pinned comment today. Do you agree with Matt Miller? Should the Seahawks draft Troy Fautanu with this pick? Type Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think of the selection. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time, the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're talking tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got it all, folks. And here's how it works. You choose the event you want to go to, choose the seat, and you can see if you like that seat or not. Look for the flash deals to find the seat that's perfect for you. And then, just within a matter of moments, you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. They got it all for you. They make it so easy. And on top of that, we're offering a great deal for you. $20 off on your first purchase when you use the promo code CHATSPORTS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. I've used it to go to all sorts of events like baseball games, basketball games, football games. You can too. Maybe you want to be a part of the Mariners opening day weekend this weekend. Download Game Time today. Terms and conditions do apply. Promo code ChatSports. The link is in the comments and description of today's video for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Let's move ahead to the third round now, the 81st overall pick. And Matt Miller projects the Seahawks going with University of Texas linebacker Jaylan Ford. Here's more from Miller. It's a little early for Ford based on feedback from NFL teams, but the Seahawks need a young linebacker for new coach Mike Macdonald to train him into his Roquan Smith. Ford is special in pass coverage with 6 interceptions over the past 2 years. If you're telling me that he's the next Roquan Smith, then I'm sold. If this is what's going to be the case, like Matt Miller's talking about here, you are running to the podium to deliver the card that you're getting Jaylan Ford on your team. Now, more than likely, he's probably not Roquan Smith because Roquan Smith's the best middle linebacker in all of football. But he would fill a need, and he would help when it comes to pass coverage. And we've talked a lot about that Mike Macdonald with this defense is changing things up, right? That the Seahawks are reinventing themselves of focusing on guys that can cover, that play the linebacker position. That what we saw previously with Bobby and Jordan, those guys weren't good enough when it came to pass coverage. And if you're going to play for Mike Macdonald, if you're going to be a Terrell Dodson, if you're going to be a Jerome Baker, you got to be able to be well in coverage. And those guys are, Jaylan Ford would fit that mold for that. Last year, ended up with 102 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass breakups. Would immediately see playing time, get in the rotation, essentially be the replacement for Devin Bush on this Seahawks team if they were to go that route. So, should the Seahawks draft Jaylan Ford? Type D for draft, P for pass. Weigh in the comment section. Tell us what you think if Seattle should draft the Texas Longhorn Jaylan Ford or not. Now, let's go to the 4th round here as Miller's projecting the Seahawks go with Utah safety Cole Bishop at 102 overall with their first of 2 4th-round picks. When you look at Cole Bishop, this is a guy that's a versatile defender. He's very strong. He can do multiple things. The Seahawks, I know that they have Rayshon Jenkins and Julian Love and company and all that, but they're going to need more than that. I think you get a guy like Cole Bishop. This is a guy that could compete for playing time and could see the field potentially right away. Then their other 4th-round pick, the Seahawks go corner, and they get Cam Hart from Notre Dame with their 118th selection here. And you look at the Seahawks situation when it comes to the corner spot. All right, you got Devin Witherspoon coming off a strong rookie campaign. Rick Woolen had a bad second year where he struggled tackling. Still trying to figure out what the roles are of Mike Jackson and Trey Brown. But you need to invest in another young corner. Cam Hart could be a good fit potentially there. He's physical and he's smooth, which are 2 traits are very important for that cornerback position. Then we skip ahead to the 6th round. Seahawks don't have a 5th-round pick. That's where we find Matt Miller projecting the Seahawks go with UConn defensive end Eric Watts with the 179th overall pick in the 6th round. The good thing about Eric Watts, despite being projected to go in the 6th round like this, is that he still looks the part. He plays the part of a prototypical defensive end. So you're getting a dude, okay, with this 6th-round pick, but it doesn't take away from his potential of what he might turn into. Another 6th-round pick for Seattle. This time they go with Michigan linebacker Michael Barrett with the 192nd overall selection in the 6th round. Another linebacker for Seattle here. A real physical demeanor, what Michael Barrett brings to the table here. This guy is just a beast, if we're going to be honest with you. I mean, his measurables, you got to see for yourself. They're pretty tremendous. And then their final pick in the 7th round. The Seahawks end up going with Michigan tight end A.J. Barner with the 235th pick in the 7th round there. Matt Miller, with this pick, I think you fill a position of need. You need another tight end, and it doesn't cost you a whole lot. I don't hate that pick. You look at Barner, this is a big target as a zone beater, and teams love to play zone. So this could be a mismatch potentially if you use him effectively. So with that said, I'll give you my grade on this mock draft here in just a second. I want to hear from you guys. How did the worldwide leader do with their Seahawks mock draft from Matt Miller? Put your grades in, A, B, C, D, or F. I'll reveal my grade here in just a second. I want to hear from you guys first. Let us know in the comment section below. My grade for what Matt Miller did for Seattle here, I'll go B+. Couple reasons why I went B+ here. One, this is very defense heavy, and it does a good job of addressing needs. But if we take a historical context, all right, how John Schneider does things, they don't always draft based on need. They draft based on best available more times than not. Now, sure, there's some glaring needs the Seahawks need to address, but I think it was a little too focused based on need rather than best available in this draft. But you found some quality players. I think that if this was the draft for the Seahawks, we could sit here and be content. Would it be exciting? Would it be an A draft? No, but it would pass the smell test, and it would be good enough, if you will, for the Seahawks to go forward from here with these selections, as you can see rolling through your screen right now from ESPN's Matt Miller. So with that, we'll have plenty more draft coverage ahead here on the channel. We're doing our own mock drafts. We're reacting to what the experts like Matt Miller and others are projecting for your Seattle Seahawks as well. Buckle up, folks, because this next month ahead, the countdown to the draft, we're going to be all over it here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. Stay up to date with the latest happenings on your favorite team all off-season long as we continue to get you ready for the NFL Draft. We'll do so right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and we'll see you next time. All right. One more segment ahead, our mailbag. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. In the meantime, how would you grade ESPN's Seahawks Mock Draft? As Smitty rejoins me right now. Smitty, I went B+. You've seen the picks. What is your grade here for what the Seahawks Mock Draft is from Matt Miller?
I don't really disagree. I think B+ seems good. Like you said, and I mentioned this to you before the show. Oh my God, excuse me. This feels too many needs for it to be realistic in my book. If the Seahawks went realistic and filled all the needs that they have and the holes in their roster, then I'd actually move it up to potentially like an A-A. But it's so realistic that it's not realistic to me.
Right. And I know that Matt Miller mentioned that it would be a reach on Jaylan Ford. I didn't hate that pick. If you're going to reach, I didn't think that was a bad reach.
Yeah. I saw somebody mentioned in the chat. Yeah, Hamuel said Penix got sacked by Jaylan Ford in the game before the championship game, so in the college football playoff there. So he knows how to make plays in big moments. I wouldn't mind picking him there in the third round. Hey, who knows? Maybe he falls to the fourth and they can get him at 102.
Checking in the grades here. Nathan says D. Hamuel says B+. Tyson says C+. And then Nathan changed his grade from D to B+. Just like that. Hamuel says B+ due to what you said. Hamuel says 89.9, almost A. Smitty, were you ever in that situation? Do you have like 89.9s? You're begging the teacher, bump that to an A for me.
Oh,
please.
yeah, 100%. I'm always living on the edge of greatness in my academics, so I know that feeling all too well.
I get the feeling, Smitty, you were probably very book smart.
I am very book smart. Did I always give my best effort? Was my GPA always great? No. My test scores, man, I was a demon when they started the clock.
A demon Smitty.
Yeah.
A blue devil, if you will.
I wish I was book smart enough to be a blue devil, but I had to settle for being a Bonnie.
Well, a Bonnie's what? A dog?
A Bonnie is me. I am. What's a Bonnie? I am.
Is that like a chant or something?
It is something that they tell you to chant when you first get to school your freshman year. But that is a fact. A Bonnie is a person attending or an alumni of St. Bonaventure. That is.
So you all are the mascot.
Yes, I am my own school's mascot.
So what's with like the dog and the logo then, or
That's
whatever?
so our nickname is the Bonnies. The mascot would be the wolf, the Bono wolf.
Oh, it's a wolf, the Bono wolf. Okay.
Yeah, I know Dan the Man would love the Bono wolf.
Dan the Man, are we going to convince you to be a St. Bonaventure fan? You guys could use some more fans after the heartbreak you've been through the last couple of weeks.
We're in some absolute turmoil right now. The program's in shambles, but we will bounce back as we have previously.
Kaysen says, the real question is, did you do your sketch homework, Jones? Check Tuesday! Check Tuesday! Is that good? There's your answer. Yes, I did do my homework on sketch. Smitty, I'll say this. I was actually very entertained with sketch.
He is an entertaining character. He's taken over right now. I love watching him because he's a nice guy.
I would love to play him in Madden.
That would be funny. That would be hilarious. He's pretty good at Madden. Plays a lot, so.
Yeah.
Get on our live Q&A, though. We need some more questions for our mailbag here.
Smitty, how many more questions do we need to start this thing?
Well, if we take Dan the Man's super chats here, we could also, not that one, but.
Oh, and we need to go to the man himself super chat.
The man himself. Maybe we could do that one too.
Okay, so
we need about 3 more questions.
3 more questions, and then I can start today's show. 3 more questions for this mailbag. Hashtag Seahawks or super chat. We will not start till we get 3 more questions in the mailbag here today.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Check
Thank
Tuesday.
You, brother. Check Tuesday.
Cancel. I love the beats on. That's ridiculous.
Oh, wait.
Trace looks just like Sketch.
Oh, I love it.
Tuesday. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
That's good.
That's actually pretty good.
You grabbed the beats from my desk?
I did.
Nice.
That is so
That's the only
ridiculous.
set of headphones I could find.
Oh, keep using them, yeah.
These are Chip's glasses.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very good, very good. There's your sketch impression for you. 3 more questions, and then we'll begin this mailbag, our final segment ahead. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on that mailbag portion of the show. Kaysen, Tyson, Nathan, Hamuel. Like Nathan, I see the question in there, but you got to use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box. Did Hamuel do it right? Is that going to pull that way?
It will. It did, Paul.
Okay, sweet. So there's one.
Maybe you should check out that power ranking real quick before we start.
Let me look at that. I am not aware of this power ranking. Lord Buddy Bear in the chat.
Lord Buddy Bear, what's going on, my man?
ESPN NFL power rankings.
He says Drew Lock is the Giants' headache now. Listen, Drew Lock showed us, he got us some nice wins last year. We wouldn't have been in the playoff push situation without him. I mean, we would have lost the Eagles, that's for sure.
Lord Buddy Bear,
good question, Tyson Stranger.
can I tempt you with a boot? We're about $75 away, Lord Buddy Bear. We would do it in your honor. Also, I don't know. I don't think Lord Buddy Bear has his name on the football. Yeah, he doesn't. $20, you get your name added to the Seahawks Today football. Lord Buddy Bear, this could be you next.
We would also appreciate a question about the Seattle Seahawks. Use hashtag Seahawks.
We need a couple more.
We need a couple more. We need about 2 more. One or 2 more.
Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. We'll do this final mailbag segment before we wrap up and call day. Okay, so I'm finding this ESPN power ranking here. And Espen has the Seahawks 20th, moving down a spot from 19th.
Wow. Okay.
So 20th. There we go. The man himself's got one in there.
Good job, man himself.
Thank you for that. All right.
Did we get to his super chat? I don't think we did.
I don't think so. $5 Super Chat. The man himself. And that's going to be the Old McDonald song for the first time today. Not sure if he leaves for the draft this year, but safety James Williams from Miami could be our next Cam Chancellor. Check him out. James Williams from Miami. He is staying at Miami, if I remember correctly. But a very good football player. 6'5", 215. He started, he's been a 3-year starter already there with the Miami Hurricanes. But, yeah, certainly worth taking a look down the road. Man himself, appreciate that. The Old McDonald song for the man himself.
Let's hit it.
Old McDonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. There you go. Thank you for that, the man himself. Now we got enough questions. Let's
Absolutely. I don't like that one, Hamuel.
Yeah. Oh, Hamuel, that's too soon.
Too soon.
Oh gosh. You think in the job interview they asked Mike McDonald, what would you do on the goal line in the Super Bowl?
No, I hope not.
Oh, Lord Buddy Bear. We'll include Lord Buddy Bear in the mailbag, too. He said, $20 Super Chat. Okay, put me on the ball. I wish Drew Lock was still in Denver. That was usually an easy win for the Raiders. And as always, F. Tom Fumble Brady. He's now your minority owner. He's your guy, Lord Buddy Bear. Tom Brady's a Raider now. Drew Lock, I'll say this, Smitty. I wish him nothing but the best with the Giants. I think he's got a real chance to steal that job away from Daniel Jones there by midseason.
I think so as well. I mean, they need Daniel Jones to pass that physical so they can get rid of his money at the end of next season. So I could see Daniel Jones sitting out for an extended period of time on the back end of that season, and Drew Lock being just as productive, if not more productive, than Daniel Jones in that Giants offense.
Lord Buddy Bear?
Putrid.
There you are. You were added to the football, and now we are $54 away from a Das Boot. Let's go ahead and do a mailbag segment, answer the questions that you guys have for us. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat on the mailbag, and then we'll get going here. Let's get after it. It's mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. I am merely Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. This comes from our Wednesday live show where people submit questions to us in real time, whether it's super chatting or using the hashtag Seahawks. We react to these questions, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And you can be a part of our next mailbag segment as well. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That will alert you when we have new content here on Seahawks Today, so you can know when we go live on the channel, not just for our Wednesday live show, but anytime we got breaking news, whatever it may be. This is where you're going to want to be here on Seattle Seahawks Today. And make sure your buddies are a part of it. Want to know that news before your friends? You're going to find out everything you need to know here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, turn on notifications. We'll get started with today's show. Dan Miller with a $100 super chat. Bang! Dan says, I believe Seattle will trade down their 16th pick. Can we get a lower number 1 and 2 number 2 picks? What do you think they will trade down? Dan, for me, as I've said previously, it all depends on the situation that falls in front of the Seahawks here, okay? Think about this. If Dallas Turner is on the board still, if, let's say, Brock Bowers is still available, if J.J. McCarthy is still available. I know some people aren't going to want to hear that, but we're here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear on Seattle Seahawks Today. If any of those guys are still available when Seattle picks at 16, they will take one of those guys. It all just depends on how the board shakes out. If their targets are all gone and there's somebody they're not 100% set on, then you trade down and see what you can get. Last year, if you recall, the Patriots traded down with the Steelers just a few spots. All they picked up was a 4th-round pick for trading down like 3 or 4 spots. So it's hard to say how much they could actually get, but I would say it all depends on how the board shakes out as far as if the Seahawks trade down or not. Quality over quantity with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Quality over quantity. Says, what if the Hawks pick up Joe Milton in the 4th round? Joe Milton, let me give him the benefit of the doubt for a second here. Joe Milton was in a situation in Tennessee where he wasn't put in the best position to succeed. If you recall, before he was there, Hendon Hooker had an outstanding season, was a Heisman candidate, ultimately had an awful injury that ended his season, but he got to play with some fantastic receivers like Jaylan Hyatt, among others. And then when Joe Milton took over the next year, all of those guys were gone. So Joe Milton didn't really get a chance to play to his full potential, show off his entire arsenal of skill sets, if you will. So I'll give him that benefit. He's got an incredible arm, but I'm just a little skeptical just because I didn't get to see him play at full strength. It was quite the opposite of LSU and the Jaden Daniels situation, where Jaden Daniels got to look the best he possibly could because of all the talent that they had around him there. So 4th round, I don't think so. I like Michael Pratt more than I do Joe Milton if you're going to go with a late-round quarterback, but we'll see. He's certainly got a big arm that all the truthers love. Smitty's Burner writes in, does Sam Howell have a chance to start for the Seahawks this year? The answer is yes. Let me explain. Is Sam Howell going to start week 1 for Seattle? No. But the leash on Geno, I don't think, is very long. Let me explain why. The crowd that was all in invested on Geno Smith, they are gone. That was Pete Carroll. That was Shane Waldron. It was that staff. That was Geno's corner. Those were the people that stood up for him through thick and thin. Those guys aren't there anymore. Mike McDonald, for the first time this week, we heard him say anything supportive about Geno Smith. And he's been the head coach for, 2-3 months now? And he just now said something? John Schneider's been kind of critical of Geno Smith, actually. And even about a month or two ago at the Combine, he said Geno's the starter till he's not, kind of keeping the door open for somebody else to take that job. Here's what I think, two possibilities for Sam Howell here. I think the leash is short. If this team gets off to a slow start, Geno doesn't play great, I don't think it would take long before the fans would be calling for Sam Howell and they give Sam Howell a shot. The other is injuries, potentially. If we've seen Geno get banged up before, if Geno doesn't stay healthy, then Sam Howell would get a chance to take that job and keep it should he play well enough. So I would say more than likely not. We'll see Sam Howell at some point next year, but we'll see what the circumstance is. Should Sam Howell start at quarterback for the Seahawks? It's our pinned comment today. Is he the guy you rather have be the starter than Geno Smith? Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time, the place to go for last-minute tickets for the best seats and the lowest prices guaranteed. Download Game Time today and save $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code ChatSports to check out. Here's how it works. Choose the event you want to go to. Then from there, you choose your seat. You see if you like that seat or not. Might stumble upon a flash deal. And then voila, you are checking out on Game Time, whether it's through Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Maybe you want to go see the Seattle Mariners opening weekend against the Boston Red Sox, those nasty Sox. Then play along and check out Game Time and see for yourself. Go see those Mariners and enjoy some baseball, which I can't think of anything better to do this weekend than watch the Seattle Mariners. Do so yourself. Download Game Time today. $20 off. Promo code ChatSports at checkout. Terms and conditions to apply. Game Time, proud partner of Seahawks Today and Chat Sports. All right, next question from Brian Bosworth. Bos wants to know, how will the new kickoff rule affect the Seahawks? So the NFL is switching the kickoff rule to what the XFL has done the last couple of seasons. Who would have thought that Vince McMahon would be changing the National Football League, would have that type of impact? Vince has got a number of issues right now, so maybe he's not thinking about it. But nonetheless. So what this kickoff does, a couple things. It's very exciting. It brings the importance of the kickoff back to the forefront. And two, safety-wise, it is much safer than the current format of how the kickoff is. Now, directly for the Seahawks, pressure's on D. Eskridge now. D. Eskridge, with DJ Dallas gone, D. Eskridge is the guy. And D. Eskridge, I don't know what his role will be as a receiver, if he'll even see time on the field when it comes to 4 and 5 wide receiver packages. But he is going to be the main guy for now as your lead returner. And so I wonder, is D. Eskridge going to step up to the plate? Or are we going to see the Seahawks have a return game they can depend on? Remains to be seen. I mean, the Steelers got aggressive when this kickoff rule was put in place. You know what they did? The first thing they did, they went and signed maybe the best return man in the entire league in Cordero Patterson. If D. Eskridge can't figure it out, if he can't stay healthy, or if he just doesn't do what's expected of him, then they could look for other options that I'm sure would love that opportunity. What's your confidence level in D. Eskridge? I don't feel great about D. Eskridge. I got to go with a 5 myself, and that might even be a little generous, if we're going to be honest with you. What is your confidence level in D. Eskridge? Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comment section below. Sean says, if we made a trade, who would you want to trade for? We did a whole video on the channel earlier this week talking about potential blockbuster trade ideas. And there was one in particular that I really liked, and that was the idea of bringing in Tevin Jenkins from the Chicago Bears to play the guard spot. Maybe give up like a 4th-round pick. You get a starting guard that's coming off the best season of his career. I like the idea of maybe bringing in a guy like Tevin Jenkins. I know that, we talked earlier in the week about like a Mark Andrews and, Hassan Reddick, and those ideas sound great, but it's going to be easier said than done. But Tevin Jenkins, I think you realistically could pull off. Nathan says, what if we traded Tyler Lockett for a second-round pick? With that contract, I don't see who's giving up a second-round pick for Tyler Lockett. I don't think the trade market would actually be too kind to Tyler Lockett for a guy that's, 32 years old and coming off a down season, and we don't know how much longer he's going to play. I think Tyler Lockett, the idea of trading him is a little unrealistic, if we're going to be frank, Nathan. The man himself, could Plumlee be our secret weapon? Maybe so. You might be on something, man himself. We'll see. It's early to tell in that department, but yes, I would not rule that out. So the man himself, thanks for that question there on the mailbag today. Got time, I think, for one more here. Steve John writes, if Michael Penix is there in the second round, do you take him? Well, Seahawks don't have a second-round pick, so you'd have to trade back into the second round. I'm not opposed to it. I think it's certainly possible. Would I do it? It really just depends on how much it takes to get back into the second round. If you can get back the second round reasonably and get Penix, let's do it. Let's see them do it. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. For the latest happenings in your favorite team all off-season long, subscribe to the channel now, and we'll see you next time. All right. So let's go back to that Sam Howell question. Should he start at quarterback for the Seahawks? Smitty, you weren't here with us the infamous Sam Howell day. You had other obligations.
Yes.
I don't think we've talked about Sam Howell with you. What's kind of your impressions of Sam Howell? Where does he fit in? Do you think he'll be the starter at some point?
I do think he will start at least one game this season, whether it be for Geno injury or for Geno underperformance. I think they do give him a shot, likely in the latter half of the regular season. And I don't think he is as bad as everybody makes him out to be. I know he led the league in picks last year, but with one of the worst O-lines that I've seen in years in football there in Washington. I know Seattle's isn't much better, but he definitely has better pass pro on the left and right tackles with Lucas and Cross. So who knows if he potentially competes with Geno there in training camp. They like what they see, and Geno has a rough couple of first weeks. I could absolutely see Sam Howell starting for an extended period of time in Seattle.
Yeah, I think we see Sam Howell at some point. I don't expect Geno to be healthy for all 17 games this year. But I don't think he's going to be the long-term solution. I think the reality that the Seahawks face, the quiet part they don't want to admit out loud, Smitty, is that neither one of these two quarterbacks can take this team to a Super Bowl. They don't have Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks on this roster. I think Geno's a good quarterback. I think Sam Howell can be a very good backup. But whether you're looking at this draft or next year, just because you brought in Sam Howell, it doesn't change the fact you still need to find your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't found the answer there yet. And it's very difficult to find your franchise quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl. A lot of teams think they have a franchise quarterback right now, and they're never going to win a Super Bowl. So it's a crapshoot. The Seahawks got to get, one, lucky, but two, in a position where they can take a guy with a high enough floor where they believe they can take win a Super Bowl with him, because anything else would just be a waste of capital.
All right. Before we get out of here, 1 minute on the clock. If we get a super chat of any amount, we'll stay live. We'll keep the show going. If not, we'll sign off and we will call it a day. We are about $54 away from Das Boot, so it's within striking distance. We're very close. But super chat of any amount will keep the show going. Here's what we got. First time super chatters do the Seahawks chant. $5 to sing the old McDonald's song. $10 will get you a raffle ticket for some Seahawk knives. $20 get your name added to the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. And $50 we will do a beer bong. So this is your last chance to get on today's show and keep the show going. Super chat any amount, we will continue. $ next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and support the work we're doing here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Nathan, mailbag's over. Only way we can put you on screen now is through a super chat, my guy. Clock is winding down. Last chance to get on today's show. Smitty, what's the dinner move tonight?
I think I'm doing tacos.
Ooh.
Taco Wednesday.
Okay. Not Taco Tuesday. Taco
not
Wednesday.
Taco Tuesday. We're a little late on that.
Now, tell me this. Are you a homemade taco guy, or are you going somewhere for tacos?
Homemade tacos tonight, but I'm not opposed to ordering tacos out from time to time.
I am of the belief like homemade tacos always take the cake.
I agree. I think you get a lot of versatility. You can include whatever you want. You don't have to wait too long. They're pretty quick to make, and they taste damn good too. And you can have probably a bigger portion than you would get for a cheaper price of going out.
The perfect taco.
What
Hear
do
me
you got?
out on this, folks. As we wrap up.
Mine's
here.
gonna be very gringo when I respond with mine.
Okay. I got to go with a soft tortilla.
Yep, of course. So you're never going hard tortilla.
Corn, if it's like very well, prepped and such.
Yep.
Good. Got to be good quality. I'm going refried beans, and then I'm going with ground beef, shredded cheese, queso, guac, sour cream, salsa.
All of these condiments on one taco.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Going with cilantro, tomatoes.
This is a huge taco.
Am I missing anything?
Lettuce?
Yes. A lettuce, yes.
I mean, how are you fitting this on one tortilla, especially a homemade smaller tortilla?
I'll make it work.
Oh my goodness.
That is my taco.
That is going to fall apart within seconds.
The other day, have you ever had Frito chili pie?
No, never heard of it.
Okay. So here was my Frito chili pie. I had Fritos,
Yes.
chili, shredded cheese,
Uh-huh.
queso.
Uh-huh.
I had let's see, what I had? Brisket.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see, shredded cheese, queso, sour cream, guac, salsa.
Wow. That's
Fantastic.
quite the pie.
Yes, it was. All right, on that note, let's get out of here. Let's go eat. Folks, appreciate you joining us. We got more stuff on the channel in the coming days. There will not be a live show next week, actually. Yours truly, I'm headed off to the West Coast, going from San Diego to L.A. to Phoenix. Smitty's in charge while I'm gone, so
I won't burn the place down.
if anything goes wrong, blame Smitty. Get the F Smitty's in the chat. But no live show next week. We'll be back the week following, and I'll have more updates on my social media at Tyler Jones Live. You can follow me there. For Tyler Smith, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great night, everybody. Lock us in. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.